Hey, happy Sunday. This is PFG Live. Welcome aboard. Hey, we've got a busy group here in the Discord server. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Let's see. Tucker is reporting 81 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny in Buffalo, New York. Welcome aboard, sir. Evils in Belgium is reporting that he's here. And welcome. DBX says that White Plains is currently winds 310 at 7 knots, visibility 10 miles, few clouds at 4,000, temperature 2.19er, altimeter 2.9er. Paul Morley is here in Dallas. He says it's hot. Now, hotter later. Josh says audio check, and at his local METAR, it's winds 260 at 16, gusting 26 knots. Holy cow. Temperature 2.11. Remarks peak wind at 260 at 26 knots. Holy cow. Dale from the northwest of Canada says it's 21 degrees, science and sunny. Welcome aboard, sir. Okay. Evils does have the first post. Yes, it's true. CJ Stevens is with us, who is reporting 86 degrees and very sunny in East Tennessee. Welcome aboard, sir. Carl Tauber in the People's Republic of Rhode Island says it's 87 degrees and sunny with hotel, which is hot, hazy, and humid. Harvey Newman, welcome aboard, sir. In Santa Rosa says it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny. And that's pretty much what it always is in Santa Rosa. Ted Hyde from Casa Frog Pro Resources in Eustis, Florida says it's at KLEE. He says, you're going too fast for me here. He says it is, winds are 180 at 5 knots, visibility 8 miles, few clouds at 3,400, broken 7,000, overcast 12,000, temperature 2.23, little moist, and wet, very wet. Let's see. Who else is with us here? Okay, Tuck and Evils, you guys can fight it out in the hall outside. You're both here. That's what's important. We have race conditions. We have race conditions for our weather reports. How many people can say that they have race conditions for their weather reports? We can say it. Here in Manchester, New Hampshire, winds are 280 at 11 knots, visibility 10 miles, broken at 4,300, broken at 25,000, temperature 2.15, altimeter 2.9er, and there sure are remarks. Welcome aboard, everyone. People are trickling in. Help yourself to the sandwiches in the back. In the Discord server, we have Tucker, Josh, Dale, DBX, Paul, Morley, Evils, Chris O, Kenicky, Proteum is here. Welcome aboard, Proteum. AJF, Carl Tauber, Ted Hyde, and Orjan. Welcome, everybody. We have a check-in from Trondheim, Norway, from Orjan. He says his local station is Echo November Victor Alpha, and his winds are 270 at 30 knots. Holy cow. Light drizzle, rain, broken at 1900, overcast at 3000, temperature 11, dew point 08. Altimeter is, if I could get this right, it's 11008 millibars, I think. And the winds are crazy. Holy cow. Stay inside. So today, we are enjoying the last weekend before our long weekend, which is our July 4th weekend, also known as Independence Day. So I started messaging with a buddy of mine who will remain nameless, but if he's listening, he knows who he is. And he is from the UK, and he's been living here for a few years, and he's going back to the UK. And I said, we should get together for lunch. And he said, when do you want to get together for lunch? And I said, Independence Day. He didn't like that. No, but seriously, we are getting together for lunch. I thought that was pretty funny, if you remember your history. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about using up the tooling and wearing out the machines. And I actually found a song called Use It Up and Wear It Out. And if you looked on Instagram for the post for today's live, the music that I picked was that song, and I thought that was pretty good. Yes, Tucker, I am going to bring tea and throw it at him during lunch. That would be funny. Actually, I think we're just going to order tea, and I'm just going to knock it over. He's a super guy. I actually worked for him. I did work for him a while back in the world of antennas, and we had a lot of fun. Let's see. Carl Tauber. Did we get everybody in there? I think we got everybody in there. Okay. So we'll talk about that, and we're going to talk about lapping. I made, as you may have recalled, I made 8-inch laps, or I'm in the process of making 8-inch laps for doing some larger work. And this has been very interesting. And, when things get bigger, things get bigger. And you have to start changing your strategy. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Let's see. I'm keeping an eye on the clock because we have some community stuff going on. Happy Canada Day to those who celebrate that. Canada Day is officially Tuesday on the 1st of July. And I did notice that one of our Canadian machining community is taking Monday and Tuesday off in his shop and celebrating. And I hope you have awesome weather. Carl says there's music. I don't think we have any music here. Let's see. You guys are making me all worried. Let's see. Tucker's on YouTube, and his audio is good. And that might be a delayed message from Evils. We're doing it live here, people. Sometimes there's technical stuff going on. Happy birthday to our very own Tucker from Tuck's Garage. Tuck's birthday is tomorrow. And his son's birthday is, when is it? It's real soon now. I think it was yesterday. So happy birthday, Dad and son. And you guys are awesome. Happy birthday to you. So does that have any connection to Canada? I mean, is there any connection there? You're having almost the same birthday. So I washed my truck. I had to do some errands. No connection. I had to do some errands, and I washed my truck. Now the truck is it's an expensive commodity, and I'd like to take care of it. And I just washed it, but I use it. Tucker asks, was it shocking? It was not shocking because the engineers did their job. The high voltage in that thing, in the inverters, it's a Ford F-150 Lightning. I think it's 4 to 600 volts DC. You'd think I would know. I have no idea, but it's pretty impressive. And some people think, if it gets wet, you're going to get electrocuted. It's pretty sealed up. So I take the truck and I go and I wash it. And I take care of the truck. But the truck has wear items in it, right? It's got bearings and it's got tires, and of these, the tires are the worst. Evil says, nothing compared to what happens if the fire gets to the gasoline. That's true. So it's a good example of a piece of equipment which I use. and it's not like I'm it's not a what we call it a hanger queen in aviation. It would be called a hanger queen, or in shop terms, a shop queen, right? The equipment gets used, and I bought a brand new grinder. I bought the Okamoto 8x18 CNC grinder. For you keeping score at home, that's the ACC 818NC. And it was gorgeous. It was the first machine I'd ever purchased where I was the one that took the Cosmoline off. I uncrated it and I started using it. And you know what I do with that machine? I use it every week. It gets used. In fact, I had to change over to a 5SG wheel to do the laps, and I got some other projects this week. So this next week is going to be dedicated to doing some steel grinding, or ductile iron, depending on it. Did it need a car wash, Tuck? So when you grind stones, what are you making? You're making aluminum oxide mostly. You're making aluminum oxide fines and coolant, and we call that mud. So in the wheel housing, you're scraping out bits of mud and you're cleaning the thing up. I probably spent a solid 2 hours cleaning the grinder as part of the switchover to the 5SG wheel. And it occurs to me that we're not babying this thing. We're using it. And there are places where the paint is wearing, and there's paint chips in places, and that's okay. So there's a difference between washing the hanger queen and actually using the tools. It was funny, a few months back, I said to the community, if anybody has any carbide, worn out carbide end mills, I'd be interested in getting some, because I wanted to use the grinder and make some new tools. In fact, today you're going to see a 6-inch lap which has grooves in it, and that groove was made with a tool that I ground from a discarded carbide tool. Well, I put the word out. Oh, Almost is here. Welcome, sir. Stand by. I put the word out, and Mr. Saunders sends me this box, like instantly. He sends me this box of carbide tools that were nicely worn out. Some of them might be chipped, and some of them might be just plain old worn out, and some of them were broken. I will not tell you how many were broken, but it was really good to get the material. But here's the point. The point is he's running his shop, and the tools are consumables. And the funny thing is that sometimes, I remember when I first started in machining, you'd buy these little sets of like end mills. It would have 4 end mills in a little plastic box, and it was like you bought the jewels and you take care of these things. And now we realize that it's the equivalent of buying a roll of paper towels. You don't see people cherishing their roll of paper towels. They're using up the tools. Well, the same with the machines. We buy machines, we have to use the machines. And if you've ever bought a used machine, you can tell that it was in production, if it was in production, because it has some wear. And that's what machines are for. So I was having a conversation with Dale at WidgetWorks, and he was talking about this particular manufacturing facility that he was I think visiting, and he said they had a sea of, I guess it was Mazaks, right? Just as far as the eye can see, these Mazak machines, and they were all working away on this company's products. But more interesting is that they had two Mazak guys who were on the site full time. That was their job, is to take care of these guys. And the key was that they would rotate machines out on a schedule. Oh, that machine has, 100,000 hours on it. It's gone. We're going to put a new machine in. There's no, it's not a family heirloom. It's not my favorite machine. It's a tool. So I love when we literally wear stuff out like that. And we'll talk a little more about that. Yeah, Josh says, "Oh, that's where the two Mazak service guys in Canada are." Thank you very much. Yes, DBX says, quote, "Cattle, not pets," close quote. Well done. Almost, if you send me video, I'm going to invite you to speak here. We have a special treat coming along from Almost Machining. And hopefully he will push his button soon, and we'll get a little report from him. So has anybody here ever worn out a machine? I'm curious about that. Oh, there he is. Almost. How are you?
Good.
You're on the air. You're live on the PFG.Live. So tell me. So
Bill, or you on me?
So you're.
Oh, hey.
We're getting.
Can I get my camera on? We got a camera going for Stan. Let me turn this around.
Just, I'm not getting video from you yet. Oh, now I am. Okay, good. Welcome aboard. So look who that is. It's the one, the only, Stan Zinkowski. Stan, how are you?
Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to Bar Z.
I'm just happy to see you sitting.
I've been here a whole 10 minutes. It's a godsend. This chair is awesome.
So you're just wrapping up the Bar Z Summer Bash?
We are. We're breaking down tents and moving coolers, breaking down tables. In other news, we didn't break any tables this year. I don't know if you realize how heavy the stuff is these guys bring to the swap meet is. And I buy I rent the heaviest tables I can get my hands on. 3/4 inch plywood decks, reinforced. And last year we snapped 2 tables in half, and I had to pay for them. But this year we didn't have any casualties. A couple of lawn chairs. We busted a raffle ticket drum. Tom Lipton ripped the door off a raffle ticket drum. And outside of that, not bad. Nobody stole his catalytic converter. Everything's good.
Excellent. Well, I watched a little bit of the video feed, and it would look like.
Well, it just posted. We went ahead and posted the live feed from yesterday with all the breaks and everything, and we're going to do a director's cut later. So there's a little bit of dead air, like when we break for lunch and stuff like that. But it's an 8-hour watch. It's hard to get through the whole thing, and I get that. So I do. Later on, I take that video and I'll do a director's cut, shorten it up a little bit for you guys.
Outstanding. What was the most surprising thing that happened this weekend?
Oh God, just pick something. It's just the Bears. Yeah, it was 2 days before the bash. We already had the catering wagon in here, and they came over and cooked for us that night. And we had chicken and ribs and beans and all that stuff. And I told them I don't want this food stuff here for the bash. My trash day is coming up. So my next door neighbors are out of town. So we used their trash cans and we used my trash cans, and we ran everything out to the street. So for a pickup to get all the food trash out of here before bash even happened. And that night we had 2 black bears that came down the street and had a smorgasbord out on my street.
Oh, no.
And at 4:30 in the morning, me and Jim Bollinger, he was in my living room sleeping on my couch. He goes, "Dude, someone's rolling a trash can out at 4:30 this morning." So we go out there, and there's 2 little baby black bears, little tiny things. But the trouble with that is his mama's around somewhere. We couldn't see her. So we scare them off. And but we were out at 4:30 in the morning shoveling trash out of the middle of the street.
That's amazing.
And the whole street was sticky. There was barbecue sauce and rib bones, and it was disgusting. This is not what you want to do when you first roll out of bed.
No, but I'm sure those little black bear kids had a good time with the barbecue sauce.
Well, I tell you, they were eating good. They just went from one trash can to the other, and we looked down the street. Everyone had their cans out all up and down the street. We looked down the street, and they hit 2 more down the way. But I didn't feel responsible for that, so we didn't clean that up. But we did clean up between my house and my next door neighbor's house, only because I was borrowing his trash cans just to get as much trash out as I could. I didn't want to fill up my dumpsters yet.
So
and after the bash, we don't call it the Barzy Summer Bash. We call it the Barzy Summer Trash, because it's just people can just make an incredible mess. It's just a mess.
we're humans. It's what we do.
I get it.
Hey,
Yep.
almost, if you could cycle your video, Stan froze on us here.
Oh, Will fix me up, would you?
Just turn off the video and then turn on the video. It'll probably fix itself. There we go.
Bill's my cameraman. I still got audio?
Yep, you're good. You're back. You're fine. Audio was fine the whole way through. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Phil's phone goes to sleep on us. We didn't have time to set up a real camera. Sorry.
That's okay. We do it live here. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
It sounds
I'm
great.
I don't think I've cussed once, have I?
Not yet, but you're clear to cuss as you.
No. I keep all my videos kid friendly. I don't cuss. I try not to. It's a conscious effort, but I make it happen.
This is another reason I have to get out to the bash so I can hear you cuss.
Well, I don't know whether you heard the scuttlebutt, but this is the last year of Summer Bash here in Southern California.
I did, and first of all, congratulations on 10 years. That's amazing.
Okay.
And tell us about your move. How's that going?
It's going good. There's for sale signs hanging on the house right now here in SoCal. It hits the MLS tomorrow. So, and I haven't sold a house in 28 years. So I've been out of the game, so I don't know the game, but I got a good real estate agent out here that I'm comfortable with. I have a great real estate agent over in Southern Alabama that specializes in farm and land type properties out of town limits in all directions. And we have a nice place picked out in Georgiana, Alabama, about an hour north of Mobile. Sits on 47 acres. There is a 12-month creek that runs through the property called Murder Creek. And it's right on the edge of being a river almost. It's pretty substantial. I've got 6 acres of adolescent pines. I've got about 22 acres of adult pines. I've got hardwoods. I've got a 17-acre lawn and a 3,600 square foot house. Oh, and a pole barn, no shop.
So you're gonna be building a shop? Is that your
I
plan?
have to build a shop. But I mean, I've been doing prefab units long enough that I know what the costs are for a prefab red iron insulated tin type building. And I know the costs on that. So we're it's been about $110,000 to build a shop.
Awesome. Plus, you'll get it the way you want it.
Well, yeah, it's dead dog simple. It's 30 by 100. That comes out, there's 3,000 square foot, roll up doors at each end, a couple of man doors, and then all the wall. When you order a building, you can order those prefabs any way you want. So all the wall iron is going to be 8-inch I-beam overbuilt, and then I can get my gantry set up with that, so I can have a gantry that'll run the full length of the building.
That's awesome. Well,
Yep.
so promise me you'll come on as a guest when you're settled. We'll do a show with you, and we'll chat
Oh,
and
absolutely.
get the skinny
Well,
on the move.
Right. I'm going to kind of chronicle some of the move because I'm paying to have the house moved, but I can't find anybody to touch the shop. Riggers are riggers. They want to pick up a machine, move it, and drop it down. But when it comes to moving equipment across the country, that's a different, kettle of fish. And I don't mind doing maybe the trailer work myself, I've got a Class A non-con license, which means I'm not allowed to tow anything for money for other people, but I can tow my own stuff. And I was going to pick me up a nice big gooseneck double axle trailer, and Betty is leaving for Alabama.
What's the drive time from point to point, do you think?
It's about 2,000 miles. When we go back there, we'll team drive it, and we can make it in a day and a half, which is pushing it. That's a push. If you just do it casually, 2.5 days.
So you think 2 trips to move the machines?
I think I do 2 trips with the gooseneck for machinery. I've got, I mean, as far as inventory goes for my big stuff, I've got the big Monarch, the little Logan, which is probably going to go up for sale. I want to get a nice hard hinge or something. I would dump the Logan quickly for a nice hard hinge. I got the milling machine, which I don't want to get rid of. And, you know, it's a Bridgeport style, so that's what, 3,200 pounds. The Monarch sitting behind me, 7,800 pounds. That's a pig. I got 2 surface grinders I'm not getting rid of. Horizontal bandsaw, vertical bandsaw, cold saw, tons of toolboxes. I got toolboxes scattered all over the place. My list of cabinets. So it just goes on and on. You know our stuff's heavy. It's just heavy.
Well, I wish you all the best.
I know. Yes, I'm thinking 2 trips. I'm rattling off a few pounds and doing some remedial math in my head. And,
yeah.
The capacity on the trailer is going to be about 14K.
Wow.
You know, so I got 2 trips in my head for the machinery. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Well, Stan, thanks for checking in with us, and congratulations on a successful.
You guys can go over to my channel and catch the Summer Bash from yesterday.
Yep.
That video posted, but keep an eye out for the condensed version that we're going to do here in a week or two.
We will absolutely do that. I'm looking forward to it. It's my favorite.
Right. I can't see your chat rolling or anything.
Oh,
I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like and share and subscribe to Spencer. And thanks for putting on your podcast every weekend. It's always fun to watch.
Thanks, Stan. I appreciate that. And we have one message for you from Paul Morley, who says, "Howdy, Stan," from a former four-jaw champ.
He's been here before. He's been in attendance. I know Paul.
And
all right, well,
we're gonna let you go and have a safe wrap up there, and tell everybody who knows me I said hello, except for the people that I owe money.
Exactly. We already got rid of Tom Lipton. Tom Lipton's out of here. Keith Recker's out of here. Jim Bollinger's out of here. Most of the folks have bailed. Randy Richards already headed home. We are boom, boom, out go the lights. When this is over, it is just cut it. We're done.
Except for the
neighborhood.
Except for the Black Bears.
Except for that was before. And my neighborhood breathes a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Jeopardy. Did you guys watch it?
Not yet.
It was hilarious. Go back and watch the Jeopardy game. It was really good.
We will check it out. Stan, take care. Happy July 4th weekend coming up. Independence Day is coming up. Enjoy that and get some sleep.
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed for about a week.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Appreciate y'all watching.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Well, that was a lovely surprise. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We learned about that only minutes ago. So I told those guys to check in with us at 15 minutes past the hour, and they did. So that was awesome. 10 years of the Bar Z Summer Bash. I have a sticker right. There's a Bar Z sticker right there. 10 years of the Bar Z Summer Bash, and Stan is out of there, and he's heading for Georgiana, Alabama, which is awesome. So where were we when we were so magnificently interrupted? Paul says, did he say if he's planning on holding the next one in Alabama? I'm going to let the man relax a little bit, Paul, before we ask him. because I have a sneaking suspicion that eventually that will happen. But let's let the man breathe. I cannot imagine how exhausted he is. Incredible. So, I guess the wrap up on the previous topic is basically use your machines and use them to wear them out. They're, the machines are expensive rolls of paper towels, and you're going to use them. You're going to wear them out. You might sell them before you wear them out. But we have all these great guys in the community who are restoring machines. They're scraping in the ways. I've been enjoying watching Keith Rucker. He's restoring a Monarch 10EE, bringing these machines back to life. But they're meant to be used, and they're not meant to be hanger queens. So it's funny because this project that we're going to talk about today in a little bit is these laps that I'm making, these 8-inch laps. I realized this today as I was driving around. These laps are touching every machine in my shop. They were, I should say almost every machine. They were on, they came in rough from McMaster Carr. They go on the lathe. They go on the grinder. Then they're going to go on the CNC mill. The only machine they haven't been on is the horizontal bandsaw. They didn't need to get cut. But all these machines are getting used. No welding on it, no evils. That's true. The welding department was still snoring. Paul says he could actually drive there to the Alabama location. That's going to be pretty good. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about lapping. So I have a video up, which is I think it's the most popular video on the YouTube site, which is called Setting Up for Precision Hand Lapping. And that has gotten a lot of views and a lot of comments and a lot of interest. And then because of that, I turned it into the channel video, so that reinforced it further, in which I showed making the 6-inch laps and then proceeding to make some coupons, which were 1-inch diameter hardened A2 steel, in order to get the process up and running. So the items I had to use for that were the 6-inch laps for lapping, and then I had a 4-inch optical flat, which I actually have right here to show you, which I bought on eBay. So if you're interested in doing any of this stuff, don't be afraid of picking up used stuff off of eBay, as long as it's not been dragged behind a car. This is a 4-inch Lapmaster optical flat, and I can assure you it has scratches on it. What I really like is that it came, I rescued its label and then laminated it, and it says it's a 1/10 wavelength. That's not the exact words, but that's what they mean, and it is quartz. So here's what an optical flat looks like. To the uneducated eyeball, it just looks like a piece of glass, but this is actually fused quartz, and it says right on it the 1/10 of a wave accuracy. There you go. Okay, and it's labeled for the A side and the B side, just by virtue of the fact that the text on the label is in a certain orientation. So this works pretty amazingly well. And let's see if we can show you some scratches. There's a chip. Oops, it's on the other side. There's a chip right there. Doesn't matter. Okay. And I'm failing. Oh, there we go. I think I might. No, it's hard to show you the scratches, but there's a few scratches on it, but completely usable. And then I had some other optical flats. I think they were 3-inch, and those they're in the other room. Those came off of eBay, and those were from the Ukraine. And I don't know why they made 275 million of these things, but they did. And they were also inexpensive. And by having 3 optical flats, guess what you could do? You could check them one against the other. So if you have, you're Whitworthing it. If you have 3 optical flats and you check them against each other and they all say they're flat, then you're all set. So not very expensive to get into the 4-inch optical flat world. So the video was successful. My learning curve was successful. Explaining how it works was successful, and I got great results. The next thing that happened is my phone rang, and it was a customer, and this customer, who I didn't get permission to name, so I can't. But this customer said, "Hey, can you lap some stuff in for us? We have these 3-inch platens that are very similar to the work you're doing." Well, at the time, I had started working on the Toolmaker's flat. Okay, so the Toolmaker's flat was a project that I did. I'm just taking the adhesive tape off. You guys have seen this before. The Toolmaker's flat was a pretty serious. There's the microphone. It was a serious learning curve in getting the recipe for lapping to a very fine degree, and it was very successful. So the customer says, "Can you do that for us?" And I said, "Sure." So he sent me a unit for reconditioning, and we reconditioned that unit and we sent it back. Interestingly, because of the how you hold things when you lap them, I designed and made 3D printed rims so that I wouldn't thermally influence the workpiece. But at the time, I didn't do anything about the laps themselves. But that was very successful, and that led to sending it to the customer and turning into a shipping shipping method, such that the workpiece was now being held and nothing was touching the freshly lapped faces. And I thought that was actually a good thing. In other words, no VCI paper on top of it, nothing. It was, once it was done, it was sprayed, and then it was put in this container that I 3D printed that held it by its rim, and that was how we shipped it. So all was well and good. And then then I get a message from the client, and he says, "Okay, enough practice. Now we're going to send you a 6-inch item that needs to be reconditioned." So he said, do you want to do that? And I said, yes. And I came up with a number, and he said, okay. And he sent me that one. So Evil says, doesn't that mean any loose debris has room to bounce around on it? Yes, if there was loose debris in the now screwed, sealed container. So I wish I had that to show you, but it was basically you take the article that you're going to ship. Okay, it has a groove on it like this one. You make a 3D printed ring that goes in the groove. Okay, and then you make a top and bottom case that grabs the rim. Okay, and you take your perfectly clean container and your perfectly clean workpiece sprayed with some gouge, and in my case, the top and bottom went together and they were screwed together. So it was effectively sealed, and that's how it got shipped. And of course, it arrived perfectly. Well, once you accept the challenge of now we're going to send you a 6-inch diameter workpiece for you to recondition. Now everything changes. So my 6-inch laps, which I will show you. So here, if you're on video, you're welcome. If you're not on video, I'm sorry. Here's the 6-inch laps. Let's put my face behind it so that you don't see my eyeballs. There's the 6-inch laps, and it has the pattern that we came up with in consultation with Mr. Robin Renzetti, where the slurry will stay on the lap. I'm not going to get into that right now, but these are otherwise solid. Okay, This particular one was being used with 1 micron diamond. And these are pretty heavy. You can see I'm not exactly tossing this around like a roll of paper towels. But now you got a 6-inch workpiece coming in. That means I can't use a 6-inch lap anymore. Does anybody know what happens if I lap a 6-inch workpiece on a 6-inch lap? Anybody want to guess? Mm-hmm. Evils is basically correct. You get a second order mirror. No, not scratches, Tuck, but that would scare me. What you start doing is you start doing exactly what telescope makers do to make the parabolic mirrors. Because now you're going to spend time not lapping. So when the lap overlaps, goes into space, you start getting this shape. And that shape is what the telescope makers like to make so they can get a parabola. So if you're trying to make something flat, it's not a great way to go. You kind of want your lap to be larger than the workpiece. Yeah, there's all sorts of non-flatness you can get. So I decided we needed to go ahead and make an 8-inch lap in order to lap the 6-inch workpieces. So that was only half the problem. But let me show you that lap. This is what I've been working on for a couple of weeks here. Here it is, live and in person. I'll turn off the slide here. So there's an 8-inch lap. Okay, this is about 17 pounds of cast iron. One of the things we did is we immediately added a groove to the lap. So this is a groove that will capture again a 3D printed handling ring, so that we could move the lap around without thermally imparting anything to it. And then also there's one little hole we put in the edge. Okay. That's a 3/16 inch hole. It's a 1/2 inch deep. And the idea is that we could put our 3D printed ring around it so that we could handle the lap. But if we have to control rotation of the lap, we have this hole, and our ring would have a pin that goes in the hole. So now we can control rotation, we can move the lap around, and it will, and so we're thermally isolated, but also the ring is not pinching on the lap. It's not adding any stress. So that's the other important thing, so that the lap could remain relaxed. And you can see, well, you can see the reflection. The lap came out very nice off the grinder. Now, does the lap have to be this like magnificently perfect off the grinder? Not really, but this is as close to done as I can get it before any lapping at all. So the next step is we made 2 of these, and one becomes the conditioning lap and one becomes the working lap. I'm not going to get into the deep dive on this. You can go watch the video. Just because we're at 8 inches in diameter, nothing otherwise changes. So 2 of these have been made. I need to design the 3D printed control ring for these guys. And then we need to cut the grooves in the surface. Yeah. Evil says, use those wrists, use them up. You're not wrong, sir. This is 17 pounds. And now I've got to move those things around. So it's like, oh, you're only going from 6 inches to 8 inches. Yes. And we increased the surface area by a factor of 1.8. And because it's about the same thickness, we increased the weight by about a factor of 1.8. So they're coming along nicely. But you might have noticed that we didn't talk about measuring anything. And the largest optical flat I had was a 4-inch optical flat. So if I was going to commit to making these 6-inch workpieces, besides the 8-inch laps, I needed an 8-inch optical flat. So I told you guys I went to Russell Optics up in Vermont, and I bought an optical flat. Now, again, more show and tell. So here's the Russell Optics optical flat in 8-inch, and this is basically it's a lambda over 20, or 20th of a wavelength flatness. No, I'm not going to take it out of the box because I'm scared. So that's 8 inches diameter, 1/20th of a wavelength tolerance, which they call a millionth of an inch, which is basically the same thing. And that's ready to go to make measurements. Now, I actually thought about seeing if I can get any fringes off of my laps the way they were, but I didn't do that because we were in a rush to get the live going. But I'm running out of excuses. I have the measuring tool. I have the laps almost finished, and then we're gonna go. It's not it's called it's fused quartz, which might be I don't know if that is the same category as fused silica, but it's called quartz. It's a fused quartz lap. Yeah. Well, we don't hinge on the optical flat, sir. Yeah, Dale says you're making me nervous holding it up at an angle like that. So, well, Dale spent the last week designing an infinity shelf with different angles. So he's got angles on the mind. Don't worry, I was thinking the same thing. I'm looking forward to using it. It'll be fun. And guess what? I'm going to use it up and wear it out because that's what it's for. It will get used. And did you see on Silo's Garage, his last video about his shop tour? He had what looked like to me a 3-inch or 4-inch Russell Optics optical flat. Josh says, did you hear about those fake glass flats? It was a confused quartz. He says he's not sorry. Oh, you're sorry, all right. Anyway, so that's the report from the land of Flatosity as far as getting to this 6-inch capability. The part is in-house. My customer sent it to me. It's downstairs. I took pictures of it and then put it right back in its packaging. So we're ready to go on that as soon as my flats are in. Evil says, don't know if I've ever seen a used up optical flat. It's got to be a lot of measuring to wear one of those out. Yeah, they're hard to wear out. And if you go, for example, on eBay, I'm not saying that's where you have to go, but if you go on eBay and it looks like it's been through the war, do not touch it. But if they say has some minor scratches, like the one I bought, it's like had a little chip, and they showed the chip, and it was fine. The worst part about this purchase, by the way, was this is the Lapmaster 4-inch that I got on eBay, was that it was sitting in foam that was 50 years old, and the foam was disintegrating. So I carefully removed everything from the box, scraped out the foam, cleaned the lap. I had to go through that whole process, and then I relined it with some modern material. But other than that, that's all I had to do. So it's a really good investment in the used market. Also, I paid for a brand new Russell Optics optical flat because I wanted a brand new one. Also, it comes with a calibration certificate. So it is completely calibrated. I got the paperwork right. Now, I will tell you, don't go racing to your computers, but I saw the same optical flat that was being sold by somebody on eBay for a really good price. I think it was $1,200. So that for an 8-inch optical flat. And yes, I know that in our community, some folks have some absurdly large optical flats, but one of these days. Carl says, same stuff. Quartz is pure silica. Fused is synonymous with vitreous as opposed to crystalline. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. So I did talk to Mr. Russell, by the way, about the suppliers of the blanks that they use to make their flats. Again, I'm not going to get into those details. I think we talked about it a little bit last live, but he's got redundant sources of good material that he's using, and that's good to know. So that box is sitting right there, and the paperwork is in the file cabinet, and we're ready to do traceable work. One of the other things that I've been playing with, getting ready to use in this process, is a piece of software called DFT Fringe. And Silo and I communicated on it, and I had some issues getting it up and running, but it's up and running. And we'll be... take care, Paul. Enjoy the rest of the day. Paul Morley, everyone. Give him a round of applause. So I'm going to make a setup that's going to be kind of semi-permanent for doing measurements using the DFT Fringe software. If you are an expert in DFT Fringe, drop me a note, because I got some learning to do. I got it basically working, but I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that I need to learn about setup and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the lapping update. It's been we're making progress. My client has repeatedly told me that he's interested in getting it done right, not getting it done fast. Best kind of client. So we're getting there, and I'm very pleased. One other minor tidbit about the lapping project is that it'll be done. I moved it to the basement. So in the basement, there's no heating or air conditioning for that space, and you're surrounded by a whole bunch of concrete that's at a relatively constant temperature. So one of the things that's nice about basements is that there's no big temperature swings. It doesn't matter what temperature we do this measurement at. What matters is that it doesn't change. So speaking of the material, the quartz has a coefficient of thermal expansion, which is very, very tiny. And there is a material that you can buy in that world called Zero Dur, which is kind of an alloy of this material, which is intended to be even lower. Okay, so again, if the optical flat is made correctly, then temperature changes within the normal range are not super critical. But your steel parts, which may have stresses in them, etc., you definitely want to have at the same temperature as the rest of your measurement apparatus and not changing. So that's why we're in the basement. And maybe one day I'll be allowed to climb out of the basement. We'll see. So let's see. I think I showed you all the show and tell for lapping, the lapping progress. We'll keep you posted on that. And if you wanted to get into lapping, don't be afraid to pick up some surplus and or used optical flats. And the only other thing we did not mention in this whole thing is a monochromatic light source. So in order to get fringes, you need a monochromatic light source. And I'll tell you a couple of ways you can do that. The fastest, simplest way to get a relatively low intensity monochromatic light source, but you could do it for $30, is a green laser on for example, Amazon, that is meant for putting on a bang bang stick. Those green lasers are really beefy. They have some serious power. You take a standard ping pong ball, unmodified, you stick it on top of the laser and you put a piece of tape on it, and you're done. And now you have this little 532 nanometer green light source, and you're done. You could use that. Now, it doesn't put out a lot of light, so you have to, it's good for baby's first monochromatic light source, and it'll cost you, not much. Hey, there it is. almost put up a picture of his laser and ping pong ball. Excellent. Nice job, bud. Orjan put up a picture of his 3D printed laser holder and case. Nice. Good job. How did you do your diffusion of your laser, Orjan? One of the problems with a laser is spreading the light out so that it's in a light box like that. So I'm really curious to see how you did it. Stephen asks, what's the proper way of checking a flatness fallout of 0.000035? That's 35 millionths of an inch. Now, you wrote a fatness fallout. Now, I assume you're not dieting here. I assume you meant flatness. So I'll give you the 2-minute version of how you make a measurement. Just hitting an angled plane. This is P1 that lasted way too long, but it's working okay. Excellent. Good job, buddy. That looks fantastic. So he's hitting the laser off an angled something or other, and then it's hitting the frosted glass or plastic, and it looks good. Okay, so how do you check flatness? We'll get there. Carl says, specify that it's a frequency doubled neodymium laser as opposed to a green diode laser, which will be cheaper. Yeah, I played with some of these lasers. I took them apart and I was looking at them, and I did find the frequency doubling crystal, which was really interesting. I'm not going to, that's a deep dive, Carl. And all I want people to know is that, okay, got it. So diode lasers, as long as it's a laser, it will be a narrow wavelength, which means it will be monochromatic. Monochromatic ideally means it's a single line on the spectrum. Nothing is perfect, so they have some bandwidth to the color. A regular LED is insufficient. You can kind of make it work, but regular LEDs, which have colors, right, like a green LED, that's going to be a very broadband thing, and that is not what we're talking about. That's not going to get you your fringes properly. I've seen people talk about using, regular fluorescent lights and that kind of thing. And he says diodes have FM noise, which is frequency modulated noise that may blur the fringes. Yeah, regular diodes are not so good, but a diode laser, like I talked about, and like Dale was showing in his picture, those are sufficient to generate a monochromatic line. And the trouble is that, it may only be 5 milliwatts, and a good monochromatic light source might be 30 watts. So it might not be as comfortable to make a measurement. But let me get back to, roger that, Carl. Let me get back to the basic process of making the measurement. Okay. when you get your fringes, so you lay your optical flat on top of your thing that you're measuring flat. Obviously, everything is clean. Everything is in its, most polished state and is ready for measurement. You're going to make fringes. You're going to light it up with your monochromatic light source, turn off all the other light sources, and you're going to see your fringes. So if the short version of this is, if the spacing of the fringes is absolutely uniform, and if the lines of the fringes are absolutely straight, then it's absolutely as flat as the optical flat. It matches the optical flat. If the lines curve, then it does not match the optical flat, and there's a way to tell whether it's concave or convex. Not getting into that right now. And then if the spacing of the lines is not uniform, it means it doesn't match the optical flat. Now, Robin's not here because Robin would be beating me on the head right now to say, well, then what you do is you manipulate the flat to rotate your fringes 90 degrees and dial your call again, okay? Make your measurement again, and again, you look at the straightness of those lines and, of course, the uniformity of the fringes. So that's how you get to... Oh, I know what you're talking about, Stephen. Give me a second. That's how you get to the basics. Now, if you lay a straight edge, just a boring old straight edge on top of the optical flat, and you look at the curvature of the fringes, one fringe from a dark to a dark is 1/2 of a wavelength. All right? So if you're dealing with, for example, if you're using that green laser and it's 532 nanometers, that's a full wavelength. You divide that number by 2. And if your curve at the end of your measurement, if it curved you so that you moved one full fringe over, that means you're out of flatness by 1/2 of 532 nanometers, or about 250 nanometers, or 1/4 of a millionth of an inch, which is of a 1/4 of a millionth of a meter. Sorry, micrometer. Okay, that's the short version. Now, sometimes there's a problem. Stephen brings it up. He says, do the optical flats work on carbon? So the optical flats are only going to work if you get a good reflection off of the work. And if it's literally carbon, well, diamonds are carbon. So if it's a polished diamond, it's going to work great. But you need a reflection from a flat surface, and if you have a surface that's not reflecting, you're not going to be able to use the optical flat method. And that's a problem. So the next level is when you get your light source, you get your fringes, and you're looking at your pretty picture. If you take that pretty picture and you shove it into the software, it will do all sorts of math for you, and then you can get a topological map of the surface you're looking at. So now instead of you interpreting it, the software will interpret it, and it'll transform it into a topological map. If you're not watching, if all this is really, if you're getting excited right now and you're not subscribed to Huygens Optics on YouTube, what are you waiting for? Huygens, Huygens Optics. Okay, Stephen, Huygens Optics. Awesome dude. So he will teach you a lot. And see my video calling setting up for precision hand lapping. I think I do the little demo on my desk of what the fringes mean. Check that out. And it's pretty exciting. What's really exciting is that you could do these measurements down to absurdly small values, okay? And how many computers were killed in the making of that measurement? No, none were harmed, okay? How many instruments did you have to buy to twiddle the knobs? And none. Optical flat, monochromatic light source, sense of humor. You're good. So there's fine points, and if you need real numbers, you might have to do some software processing. But if you're just trying to get flat and stay flat, that's how you do it. Steven says, my partner says the paper documents say within 3 helium lines or something like that. I don't know what that means. Okay, here's what that means. That means you got your thing that's this big. Now, I think the thing you're working on is too big, if I'm not mistaken. But let's just make believe that the thing you're working on is, smaller than an optical flat that you have. So you get your measurement and you look at your curves, and then from over the specified distance, you look how much your curve departed from a straight line and how many fringes it moved over by the time it got to the end. And if it moved over 3 helium lines, that's what they call it. That's 3 fringes. Helium is 500 and I don't have it handy. 580 something nanometers. It's yellowish, okay? So what did I say? One line or one fringe is a half a wavelength, so it's about 290 nanometers. So 3 helium lines is 3 times 290. Call it 300. 3 times 300, 900 nanometers. Okay, you're closing in on 1 micrometer. So it's less than 1 millionth of a meter, or 1 micrometer. That's what it means. So one of the things I've learned in the world of optical measurement, optical flat measurements and fringes, is that they get pretty loosey-goosey. They'll say, how flat is this? Oh, it's a 20th of a wavelength. What wavelength? They literally don't tell you what wavelength. I believe the industry standard, which is kind of not obvious, is that it's helium. It's a helium light source, which, by the way, is what I use downstairs. So a helium light source it looks like a neon bulb, except they're using helium, not neon, and you get a very strong line at 5. Somebody can correct me on this. 5 evils. Maybe you could look it up for me. 584, I think, is the number for helium nanometers. That's the wavelength. Okay. Just as a refresher, distance between fringes, half a wavelength. Okay. See also how dipole antennas work. But I digress. So, if that helps you, Stephen, I am happy to help. But you make me worried when you talk about carbon. And I think I know what you're talking about. I think you talked about it sometime during the week. We had some discussion about that. And I think it's bigger than, well, you tell me, is it bigger than an 8-inch thing or a 6-inch thing? Because if it is, there may be some other things. Now, way bigger. Okay. Now, when I visited Russell Optics, and you will also see this on the Huygens Optics channel. The other thing I'm worried about, Stephen, is that it's overspecified. Engineers have a habit of doing this sometimes. But basically, that's a micrometer. Yeah, it might be overspecified. Helium neon. No. 632. I don't think that's the number. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We could look it up. It's a number that we could look up. Not important. So at Russell Optics, as I talked about last week, they had a Zygo interferometer. They had 2 of them. They had a 6-inch and a 12-inch. And Huygens Optics, he has, I think, a 4-inch Zygo interferometer. And okay, thank you. Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about. Helium neon lasers are 632, according to Carl, 632 nanometers. Yes, I am sure I'm not running a sodium lamp. So that's another source, is low pressure sodium lamps, not high pressure sodium lamps, which are getting hard to find. Low pressure sodium lamps. Remember lampposts started having these yellow colored lights, and they were really annoying. They were annoying because they were monochromatic. Those were low pressure sodium lamps. You can use them, and Mr. I'm losing it. Our friend in California, Adam Balog. There we go. Adam Balog built a low pressure sodium lamp monochromatic light source. You can also build. This is another rabbit hole. You could also build a monochromatic light source out of antimicrobial or disinfecting neon bulbs, not neon, but disinfecting bulbs, and a green filter. See pfg.gg/links. Scroll down and look for a link that says the monochromatic rabbit hole. And if all this excites you, just go do that. We're not going to rehash it all. Yes, Tucker, low sodium and gluten-free. Absolutely. And your spectral line will look gorgeous. I promise. I think we over-updated you on the lapping world. Farm to table. It's not easy making a monochromatic light source. And that's, if it was easy, anybody would do it. But it's not easy. But take a look at the monochromatic rabbit hole on pfg.gg/links. I think all of the ideas got dumped there. If you're willing to spend $100, you could probably make yourself a light source. So Steven says, my partner wants to become a metrologist, and they want to know how to start and where to start. If anybody has any good pointers there, that's a good question. That is an excellent goal, and we'll see if we can find you some people to talk to. By the way, I thought it said meteorologist, and my response was going to be just start guessing. DBX says buy a ruler. You could buy a ruler or be a ruler. That's what I say. Ted says, check out the American Society of Quality. Wow. See, you guys are on it. So that's the update from Lapping Land. More to come. And now some calendar items. Today is the 29th of June. Next weekend is the July 4th weekend in these states united. There will be no PFG.Live on the 6th. I'm taking a long weekend to collapse in a heap. So we will see you again, and I will put out the word on this. We'll see you again on the 13th for the PFG.Live. We have some guests coming. I'm just going to give you a quick hint as to who's going to be here. We haven't picked a date yet. This is not on the 13th. This is upcoming. And there is, this is part of the topic of, use your tools. So this shows, if anybody knows who this is, keep it to yourself. We're going to try to get him in here, and we will enjoy some stories about what the heck we're looking at in this picture. And if you're on the podcast, tough noogies, but don't worry, just be here in a couple of weeks and you will enjoy it too. Okay, so that's the date. No PFG Live on the 6th. Enjoy the long weekend. My friends in Canada are enjoying their long weekend presently, and we wish you all the best. If anybody has any questions about PFG Stones, you could go over to pfgstones.com or pfg.gg/stones and learn all about them. They have been an invaluable tool in all of these operations. Oh, by the way, after pulling my 8-inch laps off of the grinder and I hit them with the PFG Stones, they did nothing, which tells you that the work coming off the grinder was magnificent. So I was very happy about that. pfgstones.com. Get yourself some. I'll make them. I promise. It's just me, just these two hands. And if you have anything you want to see on PFG Live, you can shoot me a message. Same thing. Go to pfg.gg and find the contacts page. We do have some guests coming up that I will announce as soon as we put dates on them. In the meantime, get flat, stay flat, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. We will be in the After Party Roundtable if you want to come join us. Take care.